Hey everyone, welcome to the Localite podcast, your go-to place for where to go, what to eat, and who to meet in Alamance County and all surrounding areas. Today we have the pleasure of sitting down with Executive Director and co-founder of Paperhand Puppet Project, a non-profit puppetry arts company based in Saxby, North Carolina. Today I'm sitting with Donovan Zimmerman. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Good to see you. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for hosting us in this great looking shop. We literally just got in here for those prior. This place is amazing. Like everything that you guys are working on, we're sitting in front of it was an earth dragon?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's a new creation from this summer, just sort of representing some of the things we're getting in, the themes that we're tapping into in this year's show called The Wild Wisdom of the World.
And that's happening it's August, right?
Yeah, it starts August 7th, and it runs at the Forest Theater in Chapel Hill. There's a big amphitheater there called the Forest Theater, and we do it there every year for the past 26 years. This is our 26th annual.
Okay. I'm going to be bouncing around.
Sure.
I'm so overstayed.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
How long does it take to make one of these?
Well, I worked on it on and off throughout the May and June. Mm-hmm. And I just got it basically to where it's like nearly finished. Like I got the mouth working and the all the leaves applied to the hand, and the teeth got installed yesterday. We were still doing some dental work just like yesterday up on a ladder. And yeah, I work on lots of different projects in the summer, and then I just will sometimes have a focus time where I'm in on one that's my passion project for that summer particularly. I mean, the whole thing is my passion. Yeah. So, I just focused in on this dragon as one of my main things that I'm feeling happy about this summer.
Absolutely. How does one get into puppetry, craft? So for those who don't know, what is Paperhand Puppet Project? So
Paperhand, we call it just Paperhand. Sometimes the Puppet Project is our official legal name.
I'll drop it.
That's okay. We can just say Paperhand also. It started probably about 30 years ago now when Jan Berger, my partner in this, and I met. We became friends, and we were both artists just on our own journey. And we started out just doing an environmental education festival learning experience called the Hall River Learning Celebration. Mm-hmm. And the Hall River flows, from Greensboro down to Wilmington. Yeah. And so it's kind of at the heart of Alamance in a way, and it's a big part of our lives for sure. It's how we came together at first to kind of teach kids, fourth graders, about ecological, how things work, basically maybe see some animals, learn about clay and other things that all come from the river, and just teaching, basic, trying to nurture a connection with the natural world and not just forget about it as something that's too easy to ignore. Because when we ignore it, sometimes it can get pretty badly damaged, and we need the hall for our water supply. So the idea was to bring in fourth graders from all places that got their water from the Hall River, the watershed, and that's how we got started. We started making shows there, and then we made our first giant puppet show at the Forest Theater just to see what that was like in '99, and haven't taken a year off except for during the pandemic. We didn't do a show in 2020.
So you're just constantly churning.
And so we do that yearly, and that we do in May, June, July, but we work throughout at least more I work with a crew doing parades and festivals. We go to schools. We go to other regional theaters and do smaller shows. We're touring around now with a show called World of Wonder, which we take into schools and just get basically hundreds of kids all screaming at the top of their lungs because the puppets tend to elicit some big reactions sometimes.
So there's one over there. The camera's not going to see it. It's the one, I think there's 8 eyes on it. It's the face. Yeah. It gives me the Labyrinth. You remember that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
That's what it gives me.
Those were some deep impressions that happened. The Dark Crystal, Labyrinth, Never-Ending Story, all those, they involved a lot of puppet work, and they were imprints on my young 70s, 80s brain as I grew up there. Gen X over here. So that stuck around. And so that one you're looking at is a spider, like a grandmother spider. So it was sort of like the idea of we're bringing in different mythologies from around the world to kind of like create these like mythical archetypes, if you will, and then tell stories in different ways. It's happened lots of different ways.
Is there like a storyboard you guys start with, and then?
Yeah, we start out in our sketchbooks, and we do a lot of sketching and talking, and we drink probably way too much coffee, and reach over and draw on our each other's sketchbooks, and we write down ideas, and sometimes it starts with an idea of like, I want to make a puppet that that moves this certain way with this new thing I learned, or I just really feeling dragons this year, or I'm just really wanting to explore this theme. And so those conversations start happening in January, and then we just develop what we're going to do, and we come up with a list of what we're going to build to tell those stories and or express those themes. And then we get in a bunch of apprentices that work with us every year. We have 7 this year, and then we also have 4 other sort of full, like studio artists that we hire to be in here, just being our hired paintbrushes, so that they just know what our style is. And so we're teaching, building, and the apprentices get the experience of making the show with us to get the whole thing of like everything from the sewing, the costumes. We talk a lot about design. We encourage them to draw, and when they're sort of thinking their own shows up, and because it helps me to think because I'm just a very visual person, apparently. I don't know. It kind of starts like that, and then we also create original music for it every year. So behind Chris over there is a big elaborate band setup that we have all the sound run for. That
music hands.
And so we rehearse it all right here in front of the band, kind of like the same as it is at the Four Seater, where we're sitting down in the pit. The band is.
Wow.
So it's kind of a production, really, a true big production.
Oh my Lord. I'm already getting like the crazy project management.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah, you're going to start feeling some of my own overwhelm just kind of like leaking out of me, because we're in July, and this is like our heaviest lift month, because the music's being created, the people are rehearsing with the puppets are trying to be built and finished. And, they're not all finished. We started them in May, so it just takes a little while to like realize them sometimes.
This what makes me even more appreciative that you guys you reached out to us, and we're still so blessed in a way.
Cool.
That's awesome.
It's a wild ride, but we try to do just do something that, again, our core themes are that something that connects people back with their own communities, connects them with our culture, like build culture in this area. Yeah. And connects them with the natural world, just as like, again, something to not just like completely ignore or forget about, or do just like direct harm to. It's like trying to just like help us to remember that if without water to drink and air to breathe, and all the other conversations or anything we might want to argue about is all over. So it never seemed like a political thing ever to me to like talk about how we need to kind of basically take care of our home. Yeah. I just think humans still have enough redeeming qualities to like say, let's like survive. Yeah. And survival gonna have to involve a little bit of stewardship. It's got like that whole great power, great responsibility thing.
So, and it's funny you brought it. This was literally going to be my next question, is because Saxby Hall is so unique when it comes to the county at large, even just the general area. Because again, locally we're covering surrounding areas, but why? So I'll preface it. Why did you come to Saxby Hall? Because you're a Cincy guy, Ohio guys here.
Yeah.
Why did you come to Saxby Hall? And then why? Like, what is the culture of Saxby Hall? And like, what do you think melds that whole thing together?
Well, okay, so what's the culture of Saxby Hall? Woo-woo. A lot of things. Addressing that one first, I would just say it's a place where there's a lot of mixing of different cultures going on, because people have come from pretty far afield and settled in Saxapahaw. There's like New Yorkers and people from LA and out west or wherever, like kind of like it's been a little bit of like a little micro melting pot kind of a scene. And people, I think, mostly have figured out ways to integrate and like collaborate with the population that was already here, or that's also growing in its own way. People from Alamance, and but I mean, surely you're going to get some like differences, as well. So it's not like a utopia that exists, but it's an interesting little dangling little peninsula off of, if you think about Alamance, all kind of like draining out to the bottom. It's like Saxapahaw is right there at the end, at the tip, just sort of like. And it is sticking out toward Carborough, Chapel Hill, so a lot more of that influence is like
I didn't even think about
is
that. Touching
on this county, this part of the county, than further up,
that makes sense.
into Burlington, etc. But regardless, I mean, it's not for me. I settled in Saxapahaw only for the reason that when I was looking for land with my newly found. My 3-year girlfriend at the time, and we became my wife, but we bought the land first. We found land here on Whitney Road in Saxapahaw, and we just decided we would buy land and start making a farm happen, and just making a go of it. And I was able to, that's just the first place, honestly. There was no other reason for that, because actually all of the other growth happened since we moved here 25 years ago now. A lot of the 5-star gas station and the Eddy and the Hall River Ballroom all were not there in the beginning when we were here, and so we sort of watched it build up. And I've largely enjoyed most of the changes. It's very crowded on the weekends. I will say that some of the popularity has led to like. Wow. Like you just drive through town and people have parked crazy style, like over in the road, just like over the white line. Just, I'm going to park here and walk away with my car literally a foot into the lane and just making crazy choices. And that's been a bit wild because there's concerts here and big events. And, it brings money into this county, one, and it also brings, like a lot of energy and money into the actual Saxapahaw. But not that anyone's really getting rich.
It wouldn't be a Localite podcast without somebody mentioning it's too crowded.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, I mean that has happened with a little bit of popularity. I love Saxapahaw. There's a lot of good people here trying to do good things, and it's been the right spot for us, for sure.
I guess it just dawned on me because of how you guys have been around since, if I literally forget, it's been 20 plus years.
Yeah,
26 years. So the culture I'm thinking of when it comes to the creativity of Saxapahaw, you guys are a staple of that. You guys are a cornerstone of that whole concept that I've built out in my head. It just dawned on me. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, weirdly, I'm like, I guess I gotten old a little bit or something, but like the longer you stick around, people come up to me and say that, this is one of the reasons I moved here was because there was this cool art culture organization that was like, just making this stuff that has gotten some renown outside of this state. And I'm not bragging at all, but I mean, it kind of like floors me when I hear people say that, because they'll look like a full-blown adult, but they literally were babies, when we were doing the first shows. And I have that happen to me too. When people will walk up to me, it's like, I've been coming since I was a baby. And they're like a full-blown man or woman. And I'm just like with a career and stuff. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like, you don't make any sense. I'm still like 40 in my own brain, or, but anyway, it's a wild ride, but we're having a good time.
So jumping, because obviously we're going to try and get this episode. One of the things we want to talk about is the wild wisdom of the world. Obviously, we're sitting in front of the dragon. First, I guess, why dragons? What is the story going to be unfold? What can viewers, when they come out into Chapel Hill, what can they expect? Obviously, you don't have to go the entire plot. Obviously,
sure. Well, it's a show. It's a show that has multiple pieces, like smaller, shorter pieces that like revolve around this theme of the wild wisdom of the world, and we sort of just leaned into what is that when the words came to us before we really necessarily knew what it was, that we had to pick a title actually, for some grant or something also. Let's just get real here.
Yeah.
But we liked the title, but what we wanted to do as we were exploring what we were going to do with that concept, we just kept asking ourselves, what is the wild wisdom of the world? And if we don't know, why don't we? And if we can start to figure it out, like how do we get closer to it? How do we get more adjacent to what the wisdom of the world is?
Yeah.
Because I'm just going to say straight out that humans don't always get it right. We don't even have to...
Hot take. No.
Like, we're not just batting 1,000 and like just nailing it every time. And so my own humanity keeps me curious around how do I sort of lean into the bettering of my own life, of my community's life, my family, and how do I do the next right thing in this world? Like when you get overwhelm is really common. And so, I mean, all these things I can say without having to go to one extreme or the other on the political spectrum, because so that's what we're trying to get to is like, what's the universal? We know we need water to drink and air to breathe. Yeah. We know that we all experience pain and that we all want some kind of connection in our life, whether it's just to be connected with our family or with our community, etc. And people literally survive and thrive off of that. So some of the wild wisdoms that we think are starting to appear to us are things like everything changes, everything transforms, in over time.
Yeah.
That's easy enough, right? Some of the basics, I feel like we're trying to like get back to basics.
Yeah.
Because sometime in the tumultuous turmoil that we all get swept into from either side of whatever on that spectrum, the overwhelm is real, the sort of frustration is real.
Yes.
And so I feel like art can be a healing element in our life, in our lives as human, so I just lean into that. Like, how can I create something that no matter who you are walking through that door, you're going to get something that just makes you appreciate just a gentle breeze flowing through the trees, or it might make you appreciate like your fellow human sitting next to you who's like gone through whatever craziness they've gone through to get there. Like so it is about movement, and how another universal truth feels like everything that's in life moves. So the birds, the clouds, the stars, the planet, the rocks, everything is in a constant state of movement. So seeing if we can just build some common ground from
the very base.
Yeah, let's go back to the basics, folks, because we have kind of like splintered off into kind of an insane
This is
situation.
literally the second time someone has on the podcast talked about just, it's going to be online slang, but it's like touching grass. It's literally just going back rooted.
There is literally a scene in the show where these big papier-mâché feet are walking across these giant rocks, and the people in the show become grass, and they just take a moment where the feet are like in the grass, feeling the ground under their feet, and it's just like kind of it's a puppety way to imagine it, but it's about the same idea that just kind of getting grounded in like some of the simple truths that we maybe can all agree to.
Yeah,
I don't know. I
think you're
everybody maybe not, but like I'm trying to make the widest open door that I can get.
100%.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, when I read the name of the play and I saw the dragon on the I was immediately thinking, and it might be, I was like, because there's dragons in every culture, and I was like, I wondered if that had anything to do with like the ultimate wisdom is going back to like this primordial idea of like an ancient concept that everyone seems to think about. That's almost like kind of what you're going along.
That's exactly right. And so the reason why I felt like when making a show about the wild wisdom of the world is that dragons do represent this this sort of wildness. They're like untamed. They're like a raw force, but they're a primordial sort of, like you use the right word, like sort of they're like tapped into something that's like ancient and like and that there's just like kind of like a pure raw truth to them in a way where they know themselves, and I'd like to push back sometimes against some of the like tropes that people have. Like we do it with witches as well, like, but dragons are another example where it's like the mighty hero must come in to slay the dragon. We're really never telling those kinds of stories. That's like the stereotype that one would think of, but more so the dragon is like the center of the piece, and it's like its life and its children, or its all of the things that it has going on. It's like it might maybe build a little bit of empathy with like these that expand beyond our narratives that we get locked into, where I just believe in the hero narrative where you have to kill the beast. It's like, well, maybe we just need to like learn to live with this wild, raw, untamed force in a way that is like in a dynamic tension, but it's not just destruction. 100%. It's like coexisting. It's I swear to God, I'm not going to get into a dragon tangent. This used to be my thing. I loved it. Hell yeah, man.
The dragon.
That's where my brain is out, so we're getting ready to go.
Cut dragon podcast.
Yeah.
No, I remember reading this in high school, and it kind of changed because it's kind of along the same lines. In the Western interpretation of the dragon, it's just to conquer. It's an item or a thing to be conquered, while in the East, it's kind of like a concept of wisdom. And I read one time, I think it was Joseph Campbell or something, where it was like the dragon is the equal opposite to the protagonist. So wherever the protagonist or the antagonist is, whichever, it's always supposed to be the equal opposite. So if the person is in distress, the dragon represents trust, like something for you to trust in. If you are needing something to be done and you're the protagonist, it will be your antagonist, like the yin and yang concept.
Yeah, there's a lot there that can be unpacked, and one factoid that I loved so much was that in Greek, drago means to see clearly, and to me, like when we're trying to find our way through the matrix, if you will, of just what's going on, and all the things we're being bombarded with, something that just cuts and you can feel, okay, that's the earth represented as a living organism that is like moving, and it has no ill will. It gives its heart freely. It gives itself freely to humans, and then we exploit it and burn it down anyway. So there's something that I think people can still see, that there is I don't know. So that's what I want, the world I wanted to dive into. So we made 4 dragons this year. We made a water dragon, a fire dragon, the earth dragon that they sort of help bring to life, and then a dragon of light, which is sort of like this illuminated puppet that we're creating.
The one you were working on when we got here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was installing the teeth.
Wow.
Doing more dental work. This has been the week of dragon dental work. I never could have thought of this when I put it in my job description.
I was saying, can you imagine your LinkedIn? Dragon orthodontist.
I'm kind of like an expert in it. And in Alamance County, I would say at least I'm probably the top dragon tooth installer.
That is awesome.
I don't have much competition, but
that's hilarious.
Yeah, so the show is all about that, and so there's goats and camels and shepherds, and sort of showing some of like life's natural movements, and how there's like a relationship of stewardship there, where each is like giving something. It's like reciprocity comes in as another core aspect of what is a wild wisdom of the world. Like if you just take and give nothing back, then eventually the balance will be no longer present. It will be out of balance. And that's a lot of what the human story is starting to, I think, writ large, is starting to show, is that we've
done Fern Gully.
We've done a lot of extraction and very little reciprocity, giving back. And I'm not focusing on the fact that it's a problem. I'm focusing on the fact that, hey, remember how these systems work in the most core way, so that maybe you'll be inspired to just think about how you give back, or to at least consider, something other than the status quo, which I tend to push back against a bit.
Absolutely. Well, this has been a blast of a conversation. It wouldn't be a Localite podcast without us asking, what are your 2 to 3 top favorite spots in the area. It can be restaurants, stores, shops, anything like that.
And in Alamance.
It could be Alamance. We have a little border. It's the surrounding areas.
Okay, no, I can go with Alamance. I mean, well, I spend quite a bit of time down here at my local pub. Not quite a bit of time. Sometimes I go to the Eddy, which is a good little spot that has an incredible view of the river because it sits up high on a top of the third floor of the mill. So that's a good spot. I really like Press up in Graham.
Ooh.
That's one of my favorite spots to just get a crepe and a coffee. So what other things besides restaurants?
You could do stores. There's like a gym.
Oh yeah, well I should go to the gym, but that's not happening. I'm just trying to do my puppet making workout regime.
Yeah.
That's a bit weird, but let's see. Gosh, I really like Cedar Rock Park. I think that's a beautiful spot. I like to go there, and I like to walk up Bass Mountain. I think that's all in Alamance. It's a really nice. Feels like you're in the mountains.
Is it Cane Creek?
Yeah,
Cane Creek. Yeah.
That place.
Yeah, they got that watchtower over there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I really don't do a lot of like store going. I'm kind of like but those are a few things that I love about this area. I love the river. I spend a lot of time either I sometimes canoe in there or swim with my family and up on the lake above the dam. But I think that I spend quite a bit of time at Cup 22, which is the Hall River Ballroom cafe, and they have really great coffees and baked goods. Definitely, that's as local as it gets for me because it's like 5 minutes from my door, and everyone here would tell you that's kind of like my haunt, my local office situation. And I do a lot of networking in there. I run into people, and all of a sudden, gigs are happening. And
it all comes back down to cheers.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Well, Donovan, this has been an absolute pleasure. Where can people find out more about Paperhand or just the work you're doing, or obviously for the next upcoming event?
Yeah, the best way would be to go onto our website, which is paperhandpuppet.org. At Paperhand Puppet is our handle on all the different, like Instagram is we've really sort of like grown our Instagram following, and people are really enjoying the images we put up there. And we do have people who support us on like a monthly basis through Patreon.
Okay. And
that's another easy way to find us is by going on Patreon. If you want to, people give like $1 a month, it just comes out automatically. It's kind of like a sustainer program.
Oh, yeah.
And that's been really helpful to keep us going and paying our artists to keep making the stuff that we do and keep going
Dragon
out.
Teeth Healthcare.
That's right. That's right. That's the healthcare plan for the dental care for dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but those are all the ways. And any kind of Google search will provide thousands of images of things that we've been doing over the years. If you do an image search.
Awesome.
But thanks for coming out.
Yeah. Thank you, Donovan.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you for listening to Localite Podcast. Everything that Donovan and Paperhand will be in the description below. If you like what you hear, please share this with a friend and family. Be sure to follow, subscribe to all of our Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and at some point the newsletter. If you attend any of the events or meet any of the people in this week's episode, let them know you heard it from us. If you have any suggestions for events, activities, or people you'd like us to highlight, send us a message. Links to everything, like socials and the email, will be in the show notes, as I said. And this episode was edited by the incredible Chris Joyce. I'm your host, Tyler Smiley, and you are listening to the Localite Podcast. Have a good one. Full episodes of the Localite podcast are available on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and all available podcasting platforms.